I just didn't know if there was a tune that you had in your memory banks that you.
Okay. Are we on? There are a couple items. One that I was.
Okay. Let me see what I can find.
Okay.
All right. In 65. To distinguish day from night. I'm making me in the divine image. I'm making me a Jew. I'm making me free. I'm giving sight to the blind. I'm clothing the naked. I'm releasing the bound. I'm raising the downtrodden. I'm creating the heavens and the earth. I'm providing for all my needs. I'm guiding us on our path. I'm trusting the people of Israel with courage. I'm crowning the people of Israel with glory. I'm restoring vigor to the weary. Five lines on the English side. May we find grace, love, and compassion in your sight, in the sight of all who look upon us this day and every day. Grant us a full you, Adonai, who bestows loving kindness upon God's people Israel. On page 83, Baruch Shamar V'Haya Olam Baruch Hu, Baruch Hoseh Bereshit, Baruch Hamer V'Yosef, Baruch Hoseh V'Kayim, Barachim Al-Aretz, Barachim Al-Briyad, Baruch Hashem Snachatav L'Reivah, Baruch Halav Baruch Matzil, Baruch Shema. Yachidchei Olamim, Melech Meshivach L'Fo, Aradei Ad Shemo HaGadol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Melech Mehulal, Atish B'Chau. On page 86, in the middle of the page. Hoshia et Amecha, U'orech et Nachalatecha. Reign v'naseh olam. Hoshia et Amecha, uvarech et nachalatecha. Reign v'naseh ad ha'olam. Hashem shekachalo, Hashem shadonai Elohav, ani b'chazda b'tachti yageli b'yishuasecha, Ashir al Adonai, hikamal alai. On page 94, the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir liyom hashabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shimcha el l'shimcha el l'hagid b'boker chasdecha, v'yemunatcha b'leilos, alei yashar b'lei navel, alei hikayam Bechinah Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat Tov Lehodot L'Adonai Omer L'Shimcha Yisimachani Adonai B'Kolecha B'Maseh Yadecha V'Ranei Makalu Masecho Adonai Mi'odam Ku Machshavotecha Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat Tov Lehodot L'Adonai U'Lezamer L'Shimcha Elyon U'Zamer L'Shimcha Elyon. Last 6 lines of the Hebrew. Tzadik Tamar Yifra Eretz Bavana Yizke Shetzulim Beveit Adonai B'chatzrot Eloheinu Yaakov Od Yenuvot B'Seifa D'Shenim V'Rananim Yehu L'Hagid Ki Asher Adonai Tzuri V'Lo Avla Savo. On page 96, the Ashrei. Ashrei Yehoshvei Beitzecha Od Yehallelujah Od Yehallelujah Ashrei Yehoshvei Beitzecha Od Yehallelujah Od Yehallelujah. Malchutcha, Malchutcha L'olam V'imumem Shaltecha V'chol Dor V'To. You open your hand, your favor sustains all the livings. Tzadik Adonai B'chol Deracha V'chasid B'chol Masa. Tehilat Adonai Yidaber Pi V'Varech Kavosar Shem Kachal Yolam V'Oved V'Anachnu V'Varech Yah Yata B'Yad Olam Hallelujah. On page 100, middle of the page. Hallelujah, 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 Bikra Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Birki Ya'uzo. Hallelujah, 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 Bivorasa. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Kiram, good love. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 b'tei kashofar. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'nei v'chinor. Hallelujah, 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 b'tov u'machol. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'ninim ve'ugav. Hallelujah, 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 b'tzil tzilei shalom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'tzil tzilei truah. Kol hanshama, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama, hallelujah, hallelujah. On page 105, the middle of the page. Shochen Amaram V'kadosh Shemo V'chadubran Tzadikim Adonai L'Shem Navad Tekilah V'fi Sharem Tithalal Divrei Tzadikim Titvarach Uv'sham Chasidim Titramam Uv'kerev Kedoshim Titkadash Uv'makalot Rivavot Samcha Beit Yisrael. Al Kol Divrei Shirot V'Tishbachot David Ben Yishai Avdecha Meshichecha. Page 106. Yishtabach Shimcha Lawad Malkeinu. Berachot v'hoda'ot me'ata v'yad olam Baruch atah Adonai HaMakadol b'tishbachot El hoda'ot Adonai nifla'ot Habocher b'shir zimra Melech Elchei ha'olamim. On page 107, we read lines 3 and 4 in the Hebrew together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yotzer or uvorei choshech Oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. Hakol yaducha v'hakol yishapucha. Thank you. Papa. Efes b'tachko aleinu limot ha'ach. Kein dono l'cha Moshiachenu l'tchiyat ha'metzim. 108. El Adon al kol ha'masim Baruch Mevorach b'fi kol neshama gadla b'tuva alei olam da'atu tfuna sof b'mosav Hamizom hayot hakodesh v'letem b'chavod al hamer Kisov Chesed v'rachamim lifnei kavod Kavim meyorot Eloheinu Yitzoram B'da'at b'vino ufaskel Koach u'gvura Nosan bo'em B'yad Moshem b'keref Tevel Malei Zivim Fikim Noga Zivim
b'cholam
Senekim b'sekam b'sosim b'poam osim b'ema ritzon konam Pierre b'chavad nosnim lishmot Rima l'zecher machluso kara Shemesh v'yizrako Avihitim surat havana Shevach nagimo
kol tzivomon
Tiveret u'gedula Serafim v'yafanim v'chayim On page 110, Sid Barak Sureinu, Malkenu V'go Aleinu, Barak Kedoshim. V'chol Pakim Epim V'gdusha V'torah V'shura V'zimra V'varchim V'mashachim Farim V'maritzim V'makdishim V'mamlichim Hashem Oel HaMalchut Yibarbanor Kadoshu V'chol Mekabel V'leim HaShemayim Shem Yizeh L'Rashut Zalazeh Ayishiyah V'menachat Ruach V'saf V'rovnim HaKedosha V'mamkiach Aronim V'yomrim V'yira Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzvaot, Melech ha'aretz Yevodo. Go find it outside HaKodesh, Brash Kedom Mitnasas V'Matzarafim, V'matam B'Shach V'Sheyomrim, Baruch Yevod Adonai Mi'imkom. Hamachadesh b'tuvot, v'chol yom tamid ma'sefer reishis, amur li'aser v'gidolin, ki li'alam chasdo, ohor kadosh al siyam ta'ir, v'nizkech v'lana mehera li'oro, baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'moro. Ava rabba ahavtan, ahava rabba ahavtanu, ahava rabba ahavtanu, ahava rabba ahavtanu, ahava rabba ahavtanu. Avinu ava rachaman rachamachamim. Veha wearing the v'toratecha. Last 7 lines of the page at the box. Veha v'hienu l'shalom ve'arba kanfos haaretz v'tzolichenu kol memiyut li'artzeinu ki el po'el Yeshua tata uvanu v'harta mikolam v'losham v'keraftanu l'shimcha hagadol Shalom B'yemes Lechodot Lecha U'yachecha B'yacha Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Yisrael B'yacha. We're at 112. El Nachman Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meyodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'oela asher Anochi mitzavta hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam liyota yadecha v'hayu l'totafot v'neinecha u'kaftam Mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha. See, Ritamus was Hartem and Kol Mitzvot and Vasitem Otam Lotam Uru Halavachineka Laman Tizguru Vasitem and Kol Mitzvotam Asher Tati and Hamios Vachai Ani Adonai Elohechem Hemes Yatsavinacham we're in the middle of 113. Ledar vadar hu kayam u'shma kayam v'chiso nachon u'machuto v'yemunato lo'ad kayam et u'dvarav kayam v'kayam v'ne'emanim nechmadim. The last 4 lines of 113. Emet shatahu Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Malkeinu Melech Avotenu Avotenu Go Aleinu Go El Avotenu Yotzreinu Tzur Yeshuaseinu Hodenu Matzileinu Yolam Shemecha Ein Elohim Tzuvasem Ezra Tavoteinu Atzachu Me'Olam. Five lines from the bottom of the first paragraph with me. Ram v'nisa gadol v'nora mashbil ge'im u'magbiya shefalim motzi asirim u'fodanov v'yozer talim v'yon eliyamo Yisroel v'yet shalom me'lav tilot elayam b'chum v'rach Moshe b'nei Yisrael l'chana shira v'simcha rabba v'yamru ulam Michalocha Elim Adonai Michalocha Nedam b'kodesh Na'osehilo Zosefer Shira Chadasha Shekugel Shabbat Vatayam Yachar Kovad V'Lech V'Yamru Adonai Yimlo V'Yovam V'Oel Sur Yisrael Ofei Kilomecha Yehuda V'Yisrael Go Aleinu Adonai Ad Shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch So Amida starts at 115, though I commend to you the entire English meditation on pages 121 and 122 in your Siddurim. Yismach Moshe b'matna, Yismach Moshe b'matna, Yismach Moshe b'matna, b'matnat chelko, ki eved neman otalo. Kaviyam Tiferet, Beroshana, Yismach Moshe, Yismach Moshe b'matnat Sinai, Ushnei Luchot Avonim, Yado. Yismach Moshe b'matnat Moshe Yismach Moshe b'matnat Belko V'chatu Bahem V'chein Katu B'Torasecha. Yismach Moshe b'matnat, Yismach Moshe b'matnat, Yismach Moshe b'matnat, b'matnat chelko b'nei Yisrael es hashalos la'asos B'nai Yisrael. On page 120, Sim shalom tova uvracha chen bam aleinu v'yakol Yisrael Amecha Orheinu Avinu Kulanu ki echad V'yar panecha ki Adonai Eloheinu, Torah Chayim v'yavat chesed, u'tzedakah v'rachamim v'chayim v'shalom, v'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha, et v'chol shalom, v'chol eitu shalom v'shamecha. On their way, or
I'm hoping that Rich is, but I'm not positive. I could call him.
oh, that's all right. All right, now I would call him. Okay, sounds like a plan.
You could see it.
So we're on the bottom of page 274 in Pirkei Avot. We're in chapter 5, we're at Mishnah 15. Two 74, bottom of the page. Simon, can we have you read?
There are 4 types among those who give tzedakah. Those who want to give but do not want others to give. They begrudge their fellow human beings the mitzvah. Those who want others to give but refuse themselves to give. They are miserly. Some of my family. Those who want to give and also want others to give. They are saintly. Those who do not want others to give and themselves do not give. They are scoundrels.
Any thoughts about this particular Mishnah? I read it, I had to read it twice the first time because I never thought that there could be somebody who wants themselves to give, but they don't want others to give. How do you even go about doing that? What's that?
What
his business in front of the view, unless it's a jealousy that maybe he's giving more than he's.
Or he knows someone else is going to give, he says, you don't have to give, I've given enough.
Yeah, it's really,
I mean,
That to be, but not you.
Yeah,
It's not a matter of that he doesn't want anybody else to have a mitzvah. It's that he doesn't want other people to have the pride, the kavod that he gets from this. I picture him strutting around like a peacock.
yeah. I mean, if this is gonna be the Max Chirowski menorah, and then someone said, but other people say, I want to give, and they say, well, then it's going to be the Chirowski, Schwartz, Lieberman, whatever. It's going to take away from me in a sense. I want this to be, my particular gift to everybody to know that it's my menorah. So they want to monopolize the giving of charity. It's motivated by their need to inflate their own self-image. He wants others to appear stingy so that he can portray himself as the magnanimous benefactor. Now, tact and discretion in giving seems to be a hallmark of Judaism. He who ostensibly gives alms to the poor, ostentatiously is probably the word I want. Alms to the poor is not praised. Giving secretly is one suggested by Maimonides. We say that's one of the higher levels of giving. But other authors suggest that the role model aspect is lost if we can promote others giving about, the whole idea is to be a role model. So that someone says, I probably could give, I probably could afford to do that. If Max can do this, maybe, this will be the Kaplan chair, so he could do that, but I could do that one, it's the role model aspect of it is different than the way Maimonides word, has the various levels of charity. I don't know who I'm giving to, and the person who's getting it doesn't know who they're getting it from. Is one of those higher levels of tzedakah, and if you do that role model thing, then maybe it's different in a sense, because if I'm giving this to the shul, it's different than giving it to the poor person. The whole idea of is you're more anonymous because you don't want to embarrass the poor person who's taking the money, in a sense. So there are various ways to do this. Any other thoughts about this particular Mishnah? I found it, again, I had to read it twice to even fully understand it, because I couldn't even conceive of a way that someone would want to monopolize the giving.
The second half of that first one, when it says they begrudge their fellow human beings a mitzvah, that's really a nastiness. When you
Somebody
don't,
doing it is pretty bad.
yeah, if you frighten someone away from doing a mitzvah, I mean, it's horrible. It really
It's
is.
sacrilegious.
It's not a precise translation of the Hebrew.
Yeah, I know, I kept looking at the two sides.
If you look at the Hebrew, it says Eino Ra'ah. It's like an ayin ra'ah, a bad way of looking at things. B'shel achera. He's trying to be unkind to other people. So here's an interpretation that it's begrudging the fellow human beings the mitzvah, but it's not an exact translation of the Hebrew. So it opens it up to other interpretations.
it's said very clear, it's not nice.
It's not nice. It's not
It
right.
said it very clear.
Yeah.
אינו רעה בשבח את
It's like a Lincoln Center. And every Fisher Hall is not Fisher Hall anymore in Lincoln Center.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
There's no Fisher Hall in Lincoln Center.
Yes, it's not named after Fisher anymore because somebody else gave more donation
Oh, okay.
to renovation. And now it has a different name, although originally it was promised that it will be.
Ah,
That it would be, Avery Fisher Hall.
okay. Well, let's hope that we all give to both types of things, both to the institution, to our shul, and to other Jewish institutions, and also that poor people will benefit. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of that, last year, or the year before, when they had those floods in Houston, Rabbi, back in Rockville, wanted to collect money and donate it to the synagogues there.
Yeah.
Who lost Torahs, who lost.
Yes.
No, it is still.
But most of us thought that maybe that wasn't the best idea. There were people who lost their homes. There were people who were in dire straits.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe we should give to them more than the synagogues, who between us would be okay. It was a powerful community there. So I don't know, was that a correct assessment or? Anyway, we ended up doing nothing.
That's what I'm always afraid of. That in saying on one hand it's this and on the other hand it's that, that you spend too much time. I think I ended up giving to some organization that I had read about that did both. They did some towards the synagogues who lost their Torahs and their Sidurim and their Chumashim and needed, once water damage is just, it's forever. If you can't fix it, you have to throw everything out in a sense because the mildew is gonna, and the rot will eventually do it. So even the floorboards, everything has to come out. It doesn't just dry. It's permanent mold damage. Torahs and everything else, they're very hard to fix. But hopefully, Sofer knows how to take care of a certain amount of mold. But the whole thing is very moldy. The Torah has to be buried. But I think this. The one that I gave to, and I gave out that information to, to the synagogue. The one I gave it to, I believe did both. And this way, I felt best about it.
But what would you do if you had X amount of funds? If you have X amount of funds,
Yes.
there are non-Jews who are more needy than the Jews.
Uh-huh.
How do you, as a human being, as a Jew, make that decision if you can't do both?
Wow, that's a good one. So Rich has decided that he's going to answer this one. That's Eddie. So we're talking about you only have a limited amount of money. You can help the synagogue in Houston that was flooded 2 years ago. You can help the Jewish people who were hurt by this, or you can help the non-Jews who might have, the Jews might have lost half their house, but the non-Jewish person lost their entire house. How do you do that? Well, again, this is how I decided to give to this organization, because I thought this organization was also going to. I was under the impression that it didn't say where the money was going to go, in percentages or anything like that. They said that they would help the synagogues that were needy and the people that were needy. They didn't say Jewish people. So that's why I was able to do the one check or the one MasterCard, and have someone else decide it, because I'm not on the ground. I'm not going to Houston to try to write $18 checks to, to this one or that one. It's not going to work. But as long as I had an organization that I knew about that was going to help, Jewish charity, but one that was going to help Houston in general, I thought that would be the best way. But you asked a very good question.
But something that I struggle with, as Cynthia always says, I struggle with. Because I know, like, for example, in Sim Shalom, they added the word ba'olam.
Yeah.
How much? I know that Orthodox Jews basically only care about other Jews. And that's where my head is usually, but I'm thinking maybe it's not right. Maybe it is ba'olam. Maybe it should be more open to the world.
It's not right. If you're giving, you're giving. Jew or not Jew, you're giving.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, it's
No,
okay. This is the
it's not a
discussion.
question.
This is the discussion.
Max gave a good answer. Just pass the issue on to somebody else.
Yeah.
An
You
organization
give
that,
to an organization.
Or take what little money you have and divide it 3 ways.
Well, I'm hoping that added to my, whatever I gave, I don't remember what I gave, but I'm sure it was $100 or less. It wasn't going to be more than $100. So I'm pretty sure it was $100. Again, if you write little $5 checks, it's not going to mean very much. But added together with hopefully 1,000 other Jews throughout throughout the United States and the world, it would add up to something. So if I remember correctly, and I can't find it in the introduction to this Siddur, because I'm looking in the wrong pages, on the Liturgy of the Conservative Movement. If I remember, they said that the Gaon of Vilna had introduced the word ba'olam. I can't find it right now. And I'm only going to spend one more minute on this. But so that was certainly an Orthodox source. The Vilna Gaon it goes back to the 1700s, 1800s. It certainly was not a conservative change, but it wasn't adopted by most Orthodox Siddurim until the Sim Shalom was printed, and they used those particular words. So if anybody finds it in the introduction, that'd be great.
What words are we looking for?
Adding the words ba'olam to Sim Shalom, to the word to this prayer at the end of the Shacharit. That the Siddur decided to add the words ba'olam.
Okay, that'll give me,
It's also the name of the Siddur.
that's a good assignment. Unless it's
That's actually what I was trying to say.
Yes,
It wasn't specifically about charity.
yes,
It was about caring in general.
Carrie.
And many years ago, maybe 25 years ago, there was a book called Postville. Are you familiar with it? About this town in, I think it was Iowa, where all these Hasidim came into this little town and started a kosher slaughtering. And it was very interesting. I forget his name, it was something like Rashkov or something. The head of
Rubashkin.
Rubashkin. That might be better memory than I do. Rubashkin was such a monster. He was bringing out a negotiation to sell the computers. And he squeezed the last little bit out of this non-Jew there. And then at the end, he said, and we also want the demos, and we want them for hours. And the guy was plotting, and he was just so smug, like, I got the good here. And so that's the thing, how Jewish-centered are we? From my older daughter, Shira in Brooklyn, once said to me, quote, Jewish, Jewish, Jewish. Everything with you is Jewish. So, and it kind of is. But is that right? Or do we, if we don't look at that way, are we just going to all assimilate and disappear? I really don't know.
You ain't on me, right? If I'm not for myself, who's going to be? I understand. It's trying to get that balance. We're on page 138.
We're almost finishing?
I think we finished that paragraph. Those who do not want others to give and themselves do not give, they're scoundrels. So I think we finished 15. Anybody think that we? I mean, yes, there's always these little twists and turns, but what's that, Rich?
I wondered whether I came too soon. I'm just kidding. I'm making a joke.
Yikara v'yikara Shem me'rabah. Yom Adibra Kiratei Yom Echachatei V'chayekon Yom Echonu Chayv Beit Yisrael V'agos Makir V'yim Ramei Yishrei Rabba Mevarach Yom Yomaya Yitbarach Yishtabach Yipar V'Trumam Yitnasei Yitadar V'Talev V'Talash Me'Nekutsha Briyaku Le'elo Mikobechata V'Shirata Tishbatu Nechemata The Mirror B'Yom Avim Ru Amen About Slotan Ufotan V'Chol Yisrael Kan Rishmai V'Yim Ramei Yishlam Rabba Meshemaya V'Chaim Le'eno V'Chol Yisrael V'Yim Ramei Yosef Shalom ben Ramav, Yosef Shalom Aleinu, Yaakov Yisrael, Yaakov Yoshvei Tevel, the rest of the world. V'yemru, Amen. All right, we're up to the Torah service. We're on page 139. Does anybody want to do part of the Torah service there? Even just the Shema Yisrael. Good, come on up.
I'll continue with my assignment over.
You looking for that?
Sorry, once I'm given a charge, that's basically it. What if it's not here then?
Remember, my memory banks aren't perfect, so.
Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'ein k'maasecha, malchut malchut ha'olamim, u'menshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai melech, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Ha'ed. Adonai Oz Li'amo Yitein. Adonai Yivarech Elav Shalom. Rachamim Eiti La'avirtzon Etzion Tirmel Yerushalayim Tirmel Yerushalayim Kirecha Le'lavatachnu Melech Elam V'Yisa Adonai.
Vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, Ve'yafusu Ovecha, Ve'yanusu Esanecha, V'banecha, Ki Metzion, Ketzei Torah, Ki Metzion, Ketzei Torah, Ulevar Adonai, Mirushalayim, Baruch Shem Torah, Torah, Baruch Shem Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, V'kedushato. We ask you, Hashem, to send healing to our fractured, contentious nation. Give us the strength to fulfill our responsibilities of citizenship with care, generosity, and gratitude. Ever conscious of the extraordinary blessings of freedom, ever mindful of our duties to one another. Ve'yanarachetz. Ve'yanarachetz. Ve'yishmei Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emam Tushbechan, Ve'yanarachetz, Ve'yanarachetz, Ve'yishmei Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emam Tushbechan, Yehi Rama, Radama, V'sivach libi, V'yoraisa, V'tzashlim mishalim, Delibi, V'lipatecha lacha, Yisrael, L'tavul chayim, V'lishlam, Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti, Unaroma ma Shemo Yachdav.
Adonai Eloheinu, Ishtachavu, Adon Ragva, Romemu,
Yikadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
We're on page 931 at the bottom line of the page. We're at Parshat Pinchas. We're at Parshas Pinchas, and this is the most read portion. You say, well, there's 54 portions, we portion it throughout the year. How does Pinchas get more than once? And the answer is, whenever you take out a second Torah, it's always, this one over here in the corner is always turned to Parshas Pinchas, to these pages, because whenever there's a holiday, Passover, Shavuot, Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Rosh Chodesh, not Rosh Chodesh is only one Torah, but we always,
If it's on Shabbat, it's 3 Torahs.
if there are a few times that you can take out 3 Torahs, but that's on Shabbos Hanukkah, if it happens to be Rosh Chodesh, and Parshas HaChodesh, if it happens to be also on Rosh Chodesh. So there are times that you take out 3 Torahs, and of course on Simchas Torah, you have, but in all those, in almost every situation, you have a Torah that is, the second Torah is always turned to the second half of Parshas Pinchas.
So what page?
We are on page 931, and we're at sentence 16. V'yazor v'yagin v'yashil l'chalachos and bovin omar amen. Hakol havu god lehenu snu kavod la'Torah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're gonna get to the one that I know.
Yeah.
I do know one.
Yamod, Tzvi, Ben,
Yehuda HaKohen,
Yehuda HaKohen, the
Esther Malka.
Esther Malka.
Baruch shenatan Torah v'yisrael v'kedushato v'tamad v'kim v'noi lo'echem hayim tochem hayom. Whatever you do is going to be fun. All right, so let me put this over here. It's Uvachodesh Harishon Barba Asar. Right on top there.
Baruch Adonai, Baruch Atah,
Baruch.
Baruch et Adonai HaMavorach,
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bachar banu mikol ha'amim, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
Amen. ובחודש הראשון, ב-14 יום החודש פסח אדוני, וב-15 יום החודש הזה חג שבעת ימים מצות יאכל, ביום הראשון מקרא קודש כמלאכת עבודה לא תעשו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
ברוך אתה.
You can say it.
Talmud Levi, Nitzavat Menachem Rubakia.
We're at sentence 19, Vihikraftem. Close enough.
No, this is on the floor, and this is here.
Okay. Vihikraftem.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Vihikraftem Isha Allah Adonai Parim B'nei Bakar Shnayim V'Yayel Echad V'Shiva Kosim B'nei Shana Tzimimim Yiyu Lachem U'Mincha Sam Solos V'Lav Hashamen Shlosha Esronim Lapor Shnei Esronim Mo'ayel Tasu Isaron Tasel Keves Echad L'Shivas HaKevasim.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yes, Yamod Shlishi. Fido Shalom ben Moshe. Ben
Moshe Lev.
Moshe Lev. Ben Moshe Lev ben Rachel.
We're at sentence 22. Sirchat Tad Echad.
Do we have the Mishabay for welcome home? We just say welcome home.
Afterwards, we'll make a Mishabah, sure.
ברכו את אדוני מבורך,
ברוך אדוני המבורך
ברוך מבורך לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני נושא התורה.
Amen. Usirchatos echad l'kaper aleichem, uvano l'sapoker shali l'asa tamid, tasu esei lekoei letasu leyom shivas yomim lechem, yisherech mikoach l'Adonai, halola asa tamid yaseh v'nisko, ubayom hashvi'i mikra kodesh yalochem, hamelechas avodah lo ta'asu.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורה ונס וחיים עולם בזכותנו, ברוך אתה אדוני נושא התורה.
Amen.
Mishaberach
You're the
Avoseinu,
pilot to drive fast.
Yes. Avram, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, so Rivka, Rachel, Leah, who Yivorech as
Feitel Shalom ben Moshe Lev.
Vital,
Feitel
Shalom,
ben Moshe Lev.
the Moshe Leah,
Rachel
Rachel Leah, Shalom, Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimol Rachel Ma'alav, Tzvika, Kosav Yishach Lehem, give you back all your strength.
Okay.
I heard you were dragging for a while.
Yes.
Yishach Baracha V'Atzlacha B'chol Ma'aseh Yadav and Kol Yisrael Echav and Amar Amen.
Amen.
Good to hear that you're.
And your strength too, Max.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So we're Aliyah number 4, 932, sentence 26. Vayom HaBikurim.
Talmud Re'i Yehudit. Oh, she's gone. Okay. Yamod Re'i Michael ben Noah Rachel.
I must make mention a totally different Rachel.
Yes.
Not brothers from another.
es Adonai HaBaruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Asher Boka Bonu Mikol Hamim V'Noshan Lanu Esorso. Baruch Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Uvayom Abikurim Bakrivchem. Niflach Hadashah Adonai B'Shavua Osechem. Mikra Kodesh Yelochem. Koblech Savada Allah Tasu. Vikraftem Allah L'Rech Nikoch Adonai. Harim B'nei Bakar Shnayim Ayil Echad. Shivak Vasim B'nei Shana. Uminchasa Solas Kulav Hashemesh Shlosha Esronim Makor Echad Shnei Esronim Lo Ayil Ha'echad.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher noshan lanu Torah emet v'chayei v'atan b'tokeinu. Baruch Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
We make a Mishaberach for all those who are in need of healing. Mishaberach, Havasein Rabbi Yisach Yaakov, Sarivka Rachel V'Leah V'Yivarech Yirapek Tacholim.
Eileen Krieger, Robert Collin, Deb Austin, Jim Eisenstadt.
Tzila Bat Leah,
Daniel Sochar.
Cheryl Logan, Kian Shea, Steve Kaplan.
Jimmy Eisenstadt, Bobby Eisenstadt, Bobby Dead, Irene Bernstein, Karen, Joanne Sister, and Leah granddaughter.
Joanna Yas.
Cannot pronounce the name. That's very good.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimolei Rachamim V'Yosef La'Posav V'Yishlach Lehem Meher Refuah Shlema L'Chol V'Aram V'Gidam Tor Shel Chol Yisrael Refuah HaNefesh Refuah HaGuf Shabbatim L'Izak Refuah Krovo Lavo Hashta Bala B'Zmakar V'Nomar Amen.
Amen.
So we're on the top of page 933, sentence 29.
Talmud Hamishi Yehudit. Shalom Behenya. Bat Shalom Behenya.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaBaruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBaruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Isaron, Lakebes, Lachad, L'Shivas HaKvasim, Sirizim Echad, L'Chaper Aleichem, V'vado L'Satavidu Minchasot Hasu, Yulachem V'Nizkeihem.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yashitova. Michael.
Take over from me.
Yeah, come on. So you can.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should be there. It's Rich. Oh, are you going to be reading?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Oh, okay.
Once
No, all right.
it's
No, then come back.
I can do both. I can do both.
You can do, but you can.
Either way,
You can get
Oh,
Leah
okay.
and read.
read. Okay, all right.
either one.
Yamod, Shishi,
Let's stop
Ruben.
at Leah. Try to get in half. I'll tap you over there.
Ruben, Leib, Ben Mordechai. So, but you.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaBaruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
U'ba'chodesh השביעי באחד לחודש, מקרא קודש יהיה לכם, כל מלאכת עבודה לא תעשו, יום תרועה יהיה לכם. ועשיתם עולה לריח מכוח לאדוני, פר בן בקר אחד עיל אחד, כבשים בני שנה, 7 תמימים, ומנחתם סולת לולב השמן, 13 עשרונים לפר, 2 עשרונים לעיר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת בחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yashikama.
We go finish it, right?
Okay, I'll try it. I don't know if I know the setting yet as well.
You're continuing.
So yeah, you can do it.
I'll just sit here, yeah.
Because some people that.
Yeah, Judy will need
Once
you.
you say that.
And we're at
Are we gonna call you, Jim?
Shishi?
Shishi.
Next call you.
We're at
Shishi.
Shishis.
Shishi.
Just keep it.
Judy.
I thought we just did Shishi.
No. Maybe we
Maybe
did.
Shishi?
We did 6.
We did
Yeah,
6?
Yeah, okay, so we're at Shaviti.
All right.
Is everybody consensus, Shaviti?
No, it's me.
Tree.
Shri, okay.
1,
Okay.
2, 3,
All right.
4, 5, 6 Galeas have happened.
Okay.
Okay, so now you can call me. Tamod,
Tamod,
Yehudi,
Yehudi,
Bat Ruben,
Bat Reuben.
Babluma.
Babluma. Well, yeah.
And you can come here. Damba.
No, oh, okay.
No,
Here,
yeah,
Damba.
Judy's gonna do the
I'm
galley.
so confused.
She's gonna do the galley on that side.
Rich is,
Where are we?
Rich is reading.
We're on page 933, and we're at sentence 4 in the middle of the page. Visaron Echad.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam. Asher Bacha Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Visaron Echad.
Shiva'at hakevasim, usir izim echad atan, lechaper aleichem, milvad, olah hakodesh, uminchata, ve'olah hatamid uminchata, v'nizkehem, kamishpatam, l'reach nikoach, Ishe Ladonai.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
We'll do it all together here.
Yitkadash,
Yitkadash, Shemei Rabba.
Yitkadosh,
Yitrach, Yerusei, Yamlich, Malchusei. L'chaye, Kom, Yomei, Kom. L'chaye, L'chol Beis Yisrael. Adolam, Adolam. Ubizman glory, Yiru Amen. Yishmei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam Le'omei Omaya, Yitorah, Yishtabach, Yisrael, 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 Shnei Kusha, Elon, Yikol Birchasav, Shirasav, Tushbechasav, Nechemasav, Damiram Biyama, Bimaru, Amen.
No, we need Matthew.
Yeah,
Need call Matthew.
yeah, Mod Maftir. I don't know. Max. What's your
Mordechai?
Baruch Mordechai.
Ben Pinchas.
Ben Pinchas, that's very fitting.
All right. So we're on page 933, we're at sentence 4 of Yisaron Echad. Baruch Adonai Barach, Baruch Adonai Barach, Le'olam Ha'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Chol Asher Baruch Abanu Mikol Ha'amim V'Nesunos Teroso, Baruch Atah Adonai Noseinu Torah. Yisaron Echad L'Keveso Echad L'Shivas HaKvasim, V'Serizim Echad Chatas L'Chaper Aleichem, V'Varo Las Echad Rishon Minchasa, Yolas HaTamidu Minchasa V'Nizkeihem K'Mishpatan, L'Re'ach Nicho Achishem L'Adonai. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Chol Asher Nasa Lanu Torah V'Meschel V'Tavasochem, Baruch Atah Adonai Noseinu Torah.
Amen. Yamod, Hava, Fidel, Shalom, Ben, Moshe, Moshe Lev, Baruch Lev.
Got the last bit.
Oh, call me.
Yehud-
Tamod Galila.
Shmuel, Galila, Yehudit, Bat, Ruvain, and Bluma.
Just put it down, we'll put the yod on it.
I knew this was your looking at it.
Is that what's making our menu?
Yes,
And now we have Mikael, it's gone.
Go on.
What's making our
This is a water.
Something creepy crawly that.
Oh,
Very lively.
he's now,
he's gone. Is he deceased or just gone?
Smushed.
worse than
Oh, good.
deceased.
Good.
I didn't.
My heart is pounding.
I was trying to catch it and take it outside,
Did they come to spray lately?
but it's too late.
All right,
It's okay, let's.
Yellow tape
let's-
around the
let's-
room.
if we,
Did they come to spray lately?
I don't even know what they're doing right now, because it's.
They come around reverse.
Supposed to be the ones.
if we go back to our Sidurim,
Yeah. Like,
if we go back to our Sidurim, on page 150,
yeah.
we have the announcement of the new month.
Oh.
That was the new month?
Next week.
Next week.
Next week.
I think it should
I
be
saw the news.
second.
So let's read the first paragraph on the left-hand side of the English. On 150. May it be your will, Adonai our God, the God of our ancestors, to reawaken us joy and blessing in the month ahead. Grant us a long life, a peaceful life with goodness and blessing, sustenance and physical vitality, a life of reverence and piety, a life free from shame and reproach, a life of abundance and honor, a reverent life guided by the love of Torah, a life in which our worthy aspirations will be fulfilled. Amen. Mishasoni Samavoteinu, V'goelotam Yavud L'cheirut, V'yigalotanu B'karov, V'kabeis Nidachenu Mi'arbakan Fotoret, Haverim Kol Yisroel, V'nomar Amen. Rosh Chodesh Menachem Av, Yeh B'yom HaShishi, Habolenu V'Kol Yisroel L'Tova. And then you say it in English. The new month of Av will begin on Friday. May it hold blessing for us and for all the people of Israel. Yechadesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu Aleinu v'Kol Beit Yisrael l'chaim v'l'shalom
Amen.
l'sason v'l'simcha
Amen.
l'yeshua u'lenechama v'namar. On page 153. Ya hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki nistav Shemo Levato, Hodo Aleret B'Shamayim, Vayared Keren L'Yama, Tehillah L'Chol Hasida, L'Bnei Yisroel, Am Kirava. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Mizmor LeDavid, Avuladonai Elim, Avuladonai Avuladonai Shema. Oh Adonai Alamayim, Alakafot Yerim, Adonai Alamayim Rabim. Oh Adonai Makroach, Oh Adonai, Oh Adonai, Kimo Egel, Banam B'Siriyam, Kimo Ben.
Kol Adonai Yachiba, Yachid Adonai Mi'akodesh, Kol Adonai
Vayechesaf Yaro, Tuvehekalo, Kulo Omer Kavod.
Adonai Amabu Yeshem Adonai Adonai Osriam Adonai Yehuda Ketzamo HaSholom
Uvenucha Yomar.
Etz Chaim Hi L'machasikim Ba V'Tom Meyusha Darkei Noam V'Kol Nitzivot Teha Shalom Ashirenu Adonai Eloheinu Chadesh Yameinu
You know how you change channels on, I don't know if you have Comcast where you live, but if you are looking at channel 841, you're getting Fox News, you get one version of the same event, and then you flip over to 842, which is CNN, and you get a different version of what happened. And you know, you go, were they covering the same story? I mean, it's different interpretation of the same story. So, and sometimes you feel like that because if you know how I start out the week, I start out with, you know, opening up the Art Scroll Chumash, which is the Orthodox one, the Eitz Chaim, which is the conservative one, and then the Gunther Plaut one, which is the Reform one, and that's, you know, that's my first reading at the beginning of the week, and then I go to other sources. So if you open up the Eitz Chaim, if you open up the Art Scroll, Pinchas is a wonderful hero. He saves the Jewish people from a plague because God was so incensed at the interaction, I'll use a nice word like that, with the women from this other country, and they were sinning right in front of the you know, God's temple in the Mishkan in the desert. So he's a great hero. And then if you open up your Art Scroll, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused, aren't I? You open up your Eitz Chaim and you read about Pinchas. You get a different point of view, entirely different point of view. So if you're looking on page 918, if you look at under the line, you see the two columns. If you look at that first one, it says, in the text of the Torah scroll, the letter Yud in Pinchas's name in the second verse is written smaller than other letters. When we commit violence, even if it's justifiable, the Yud in us, standing for the name of God, and for Yehudi, for Jew, is diminished thereby. And then also in verse 12, the letter Vav in Shalom is written with a break in its stem. So there's a little white area in the Vav. You can still read it as a Vav. Your eye will read it that way, but it's an incomplete Shalom. This is interpreted homiletically to suggest that the sort of peace one achieves by destroying one's opponent will inevitably be a flawed and incomplete peace. So you get a little bit of the negatives of Pinchas. See where I am on 918, below the line?
I don't see the Shalom being different, but
I feel it. No.
is
It's on the top. It's on 19.
It's just regular shalom.
But in this printed text, they don't.
Oh, here in the text,
Yeah.
they don't do it, but in the actual Torah, there's a little break. So it's an incomplete. So, you know, you get a different story. You get a very flawed Pinchas in the, you know, this conservative volume. You get a complete hero in the Orthodox volume, and somehow that's what makes things interesting, because, you know, what they say, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. You get all these various ways of looking at it. I can't even remember which way the Reform one went, because that was a week ago on Sunday. So who knows what I read that. But these two stood out more as a contrast. So Pinchas can be a hero, a complete hero, and he could be a flawed hero. One of the ways that you might see how tradition treats Pinchas is if you ever go to a bris. A bris starts where the Moel says, Baruch haba, welcome everybody, and then reads these first 3 sentences of Parshas Pinchas, and says, Pinchas ben Elazar, if you read sentence 12, Lachein amor, therefore I say, Hineni notein lo, I give him et briti shalom, my covenant of peace. My pact of friendship is the translation that they give over here, but it's not an exact translation. So you can say, well, you have a sentence with the word Brit. You're coming for a Brit Milah or bris in Yiddish. And so you have the words bris. So of course you would start out like this. But you can also say that the more traditional people think of Pinchas as being invited to every bris. And the next thing is you put the baby into the lap of the person that's sitting in Kisei Eliyahu, the chair of Elijah. And there's even a tradition, bit of a stretch, that Pinchas morphs into Elijah, which is a tough one. Tough one to find, but...
More like a tibbuk.
What's that?
It's more like a tibbuk.
Well, it's interesting because when, if you want a precedent for somebody that lives very long, in this count, in the next pages, 920 through 925 or so, through 924, you actually have the name Serach, Bat Asher, which is another one of those stretches because Sarah is the daughter of Asher who sings a song to Jacob, and in the song the words Joseph is still alive and so she finds a way to not have his heart stop and have the old man have a heart attack, to find out that his son Joseph is still alive, and she's rewarded with long life of living all these years through the whole time in Egypt and this time in the desert. So, so people can live a long life, and if you can live 900 years like Methuselah, you can live 900 years, you can live 400 years too. So you can get to that particular point. Pinchas is held up as a role model of passion for causes important to us, as if to say that this child that you're bringing to this bris could be a leader of our people. Everyone has that potential. Just like you can say to every child that's born, you could be president. I don't know why you want to be, but you could be president. You could also be a leader of the Jewish people. Martin Luther King asked, if a person does not have a cause that he's willing to die for, he's not found a reason to live. So, passion is important. The next part of the Torah reading after the census is the story of the daughters of Zelophehad, who actually alter the laws of inheritance, because if a man dies without any sons, then his land is either lost, or the way that the Benot Zelophehad throw Moses for a loop and says, our father died and left no sons, and will his land be lost? And the answer is that God says, if a man leaves no sons, then his daughters can inherit. So we've talked about in previous years, I always manage to have Parshas Pinchas during my month of July, almost always during the month of July when I'm here, covering for the month of July for Saul. It's almost always we have Pinchas, and this is sort of a very feminist manifesto, which basically said all the laws God taught Moses all the laws during his 40 days up on the mountain, but this one got past Moses. He wasn't sure, and so he has to ask God, what's the ruling as far as this is concerned? And it leaves out a possibility to the feminists that believe that Jewish law is always meant to not stop evolving, but during the Talmudic times it evolved, and during modern times with, especially with the conservative Judaism, who now ordains women, that, that there is a feminist point of view could emerge over time as society changes. And then the last thing that I wanted to bring up is on page 928. If you see at the top of the page, God says, ascend the Har Avarim, the mountain of Avarim, and view the land that I've given to the people. When you've seen it, you too will be gathered to your kin, just as your brother Aaron was, because you disobeyed my commandments. But you at least should see where you've led the people to. And we've talked about it in previous weeks how unfair this seems to be to Moses, but maybe it was just his time. He just ran out of steam. And Moses says to the Lord in sentence 16, let the Lord, source of breath for all flesh, appoint someone over the community who shall go out before them and come in before them and take them out and bring them in, that the Lord's community may not be like sheep that have no shepherd. So Moses is more accepting at this point. He knows that he's not going to go into the land. But he's a little nervous. Why is he nervous? Pinchas just won the primary. Pinchas has some strong followers. And if Moses doesn't get word from God of who's going to succeed him, it might be that the people will elect Pinchas. And I'm going back and forth between this. Is Pinchas a little bit of a zealot, like a little too cracked in a sense, but we need him very much. We need somebody with that kind of a passion. So he's asking God, who's going to succeed me? One thought that he has is maybe one of my children will succeed me. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they're all the son of the son of the son, in terms of who succeeds in leading the Jewish people. If it can't be his biological child, then it should be his spiritual child, Joshua. But he's a little nervous that if God doesn't say anything, it's going to be Pinchas. And so God says, no, in sentence 18, single out Joshua, son of Nun, an inspired man, and lay your hand upon him. Ish asher ruach bo, someone who has the spirit in him. Because you need that kind of a person who will be a leader. And what's the definition of a leader? Somebody who will go in front of them, not say, I'm right behind you. Because that's where Moses was. Moses couldn't lead them out into battle anymore. He couldn't, he had to stay behind. He had to put rocks under his hands when when they fought Amalek. So when his hands were up, we did well against Amalek. When he got tired, as he put his hands down, we didn't do so well against Amalek. Moses could not lead them out in battle, but Joshua could, and some of the others, and some of the other leaders could. So we have this particular moment when God says that Joshua will be your successor. So this is a little bit of a discussion about leadership, and I know I'm running out of time, so let me just give you a line that I really liked from Rabbi Yisrael Salander. He described the ideal rabbi as finding the middle road, something Pinchas could not find at this point in his life. Maybe later on he was able to be more mellow. but right now he's very passionate, maybe a little too passionate. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said, a rabbi with whom no one disagrees is not a rabbi. A rabbi with whom everyone disagrees is not a mensch. So I thought I would leave you with that particular thought on leadership. All right. We are on page 182 for the Ein Keloheinu. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalheinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadoneinu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, No Del Eloheinu, No Del Adoneinu, No Del Eloheinu, No Del Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shektiru, Avoseinu, Lefanecha Epistolet Hasarim. Page 183 for the Oleinu. Oleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'aseh tigula v'yaseh b'reishit, shalo asanu kidoyeh haratzol, V'lo samanu k'mishpachot v'gamo, shelo samchalkeinu kahem, v'goreleinu k'chol hamanam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'motim, lifnei melech malchei hamelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, שהוא נוצר שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומשל יקרב השמיים ממעל, ושכינת סוסו, וקברי מרומי. הוא אלוהינו, ארץ מלכנו, ארץ זולתו, Kakasu besovaso, Vyodata hayam, V'ashrei v'osra, Elevavecha. Ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim mima'al, ve'al ha'oretz, Nitachas ein Oneinu. Kakatu b'Toratecha, Adonai Yimlach li'olam ha'ed, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai Melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo Your sites for this past week were Priscilla Daniels, Bertha Epstein, Joe Fleischman, Eve Scheinblum, Max Bussell, Jacob Friednick, Dorothy Siegel, Samuel Burnson, Daisy Hirsch, Mandy Kahan, and Sidney Levinson. Zichronam Livracha. May their memory be for a blessing. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 184. Yit Gadal ve'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah V'Almad Yivrach Yiratei V'Amlech Maputei V'Chayei Chon V'Yomei Chon ובחיי בכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן יאמרו אמן.
Amen. Yehei Shei Rabba Mevorach. Amen. Amen.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפואר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשא בריך ואלוהים מכל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירם ביומא ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא וכן עלינו כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. יעשה שלום ברמה ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו אמן.
Amen.
John?
I don't know if everybody can hear me. The very first thing that I would like to do after wishing everyone Shabbat Shalom, both here and at home, thank Max for very sincerely and very genuinely and really from the bottom of our hearts for your being here for all of this time to cover for Saul and recovering. And we're very pleased to see that you really are recovering, at least that's our impression. And we just wish you the very best and Yasha Koach and everything else you can think of for yourself. And thank you for all the time and effort that you put into making our services as good as they can be. Toda Rabah, thank you. And in terms of announcements, wonderful, I just forgot. Okay, I'm sorry. The next big weekend is going to be August 17th and 18th. Shabbat, August 17th, will be the renewal service. And I think we're now in our fourth renewal service, so we know what that means. And that's always a lovely service and a nice kiddush. And so that will be on Shabbat the 17th. On the 18th is our picnic. And you'll be getting flyers and information on all of this. So the picnic will be on Sunday. We don't have a time quite yet, but it is going to be at Nonotuck Park in Northampton, which I understand, East Hampton, which I understand is a very lovely place.
What's the name of the?
Nonotuck, yeah. And in response to last year's picnic, the parking this year is going to be very, very close to the picnic area. So that should make it easy.
If you have a handicap, it doesn't cost money.
Correct. This coming Sunday, August, a week from tomorrow, Sunday 4th, there is an opening of, many of you who have been to the Saltman House may realize that Bill Saltman is quite a Renaissance man and has a very artistic part of him that he has produced is going to be on display at the Federation from beginning on the 4th of August and running through the 9th of September. So there's an opening this Sunday on the 4th from 2 to 3:30 in the afternoon with refreshments, and you can see the artwork, but it will also be available until September 9. There will be a flyer coming out about this with more specific information, because the J Gallery where it's being displayed is also a meeting room. So if you're going to be going during the showing of the show, there's a telephone number to call to make sure that the room will be available for viewing and is not being used for a meeting. So it's recommended by the Federation that you make a little phone call. It's the JCC. So it's a Gallery J. There are a few flyers out in front now, but those are preliminary flyers and they don't have the full dates of the exhibition. The new flyers will be coming out tomorrow or Monday. with more information and with a note to make the phone call before you go to be sure that the room will be available. Okay, so we have nice August, a great summer, and thank you again. Next week, Saul will be back for Shabbat services, and Shabbat Shalom and Adon Olam on page 187.
So during the 3 weeks, some shuls, and we've done this in the past, use the tune of Elit Zion, which is a kina. It's a lamentation that we do on Tisha B'Av. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da da la da 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 da. La da 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 da. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'chevzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'acharei Kirklot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Hayom V'hu Hoveh V'hu Yiyeh B'tzifara V'hu Echad V'yein Sheni Leham Shilo Lehachira V'li Reshit V'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra V'hu Echli V'chai Go'ali V'tzur Tevli V'yetzara V'hu Nisi Umanosli Minatosi V'yom Ekra V'yado Akidruchi V'etishan V'ya'ira V'yimruchi V'yati Adonai Li Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.